Hello and good afternoon. My name is Jason and welcome back to Audiotree Live. Today is Friday, July 26th. We're coming at you in Chicago, Illinois on this bright and sunny day. Before we get into today's show, I want to remind you to subscribe and hit that like button below. Our staff does a lot of work to find you the best artists to bring on the show, and you don't want to miss out on any of this. So make sure you do not forget to hit that subscribe button. As usual, you can find this session on every streaming service, including Spotify and Apple Music. And now I am very stoked to introduce to you, all the way from Sydney, Australia, Sleep Makes Waves. Hey guys, this has always been something strange for us here at Audiotree. Over 88% of you who watch our videos are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. So could we please ask you a favor? If you like this show and you like discovering new music and you want to support us, the free and simple way to do that is to just hit the subscribe button. And our commitment to you is that if you do that, our team will continue to get the best bands we can. We'll listen to your feedback. We'll book the bands you want to see on the show, and we'll continue spreading the word of live music to the world. Thank you so much. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Audiotree Live. We are here with Sleep Makes Waves, and I just have to say that was the cutest little smooch I have seen. That was so nice.
A little cheeky smooch for the road.
Yeah, very good chemistry. Thank you guys for being here today. And I wanted to ask you guys, I had heard before the show there have been some transportation issues on your way here. Can you guys elaborate a little more on that? Care to?
So I guess the first issue was, the international airline industry temporarily collapsing. That was good fun.
You can't plan for that.
No, you can't.
Believe it or not. And the second was a Hooters-related transportation issue. Which,
Love that.
AWOL'd our bus driver on the first day that we were supposed to be driving, and had to call in some legendary replacements at the last moment, got us back on the road.
Shout out to Alex.
Shout out to Alex.
Shout out Alex. Glad he brought you guys here.
Plays drums in a band called Until I Wake. He's great. He can fix a truck like that.
And lost a coolant hose.
Coolant conduit connecting the hose to the radiator on the middle of the highway. Blew out, started spraying boiling hot coolant everywhere. This kills the bus.
That sounds pretty terrifying. Well, I'm glad that everything that has come your way to get in the way has at least worked out and got you guys here today. So thank you for being here and traveling and enduring Hooters-related incidents, coolant-related incidents, you name it. But glad you guys are here. And today we have this new record with us right in front of me. It's here, but I have no names for it. And I love any record that has a really wordy title like that I have to sit down and think about it for 5 minutes.
In the words of Batman, you're gonna love me.
True, he's not wrong. So I was doing a little bit of looking on your guys' Bandcamp, and I read in the little release that the title comes from a book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Can you guys elaborate more on that and tell me how you guys kind of settled on this title for this record?
So it's like a canonical post-hippie text from like the kind of counterculture era, and it's this guy riding a big old motorbike all over America.
Dudes being dudes.
Yeah. Just and having some big dude musings about various things, and it's a great line. And for an album title, we really kind of like how it's
panicked.
Yeah, we panicked. It captured our panic. It's a good joke about how hard it is to name an album, and also like a nice gesture to all of the profound, ineffable feelings that motivate post-rock music.
I love that. That's perfect. And that really is such a good title for not being able to think of something right off the bat. It's like, it's here.
We wanted to be, it's here, but I have no names for it rather than we have no names for it, because it's the idea that like you, the listener, might not have any names for it rather than us, the band, trying not to think of it. Like paradoxically, we do have a name for it. And it's here, but I have no names for it.
That's the joke.
You just keep going in a loop like that. That's awesome.
We like recursive loops in this band,
okay.
Whether it's like delay pedals or album titles.
Yeah,
semantics.
Interchangeable in that regard. Well, that's awesome. So this is your guys' first release since 2020. So I'm assuming this is the first music you guys have written since the pandemic. How did that affect the process making this record and writing this music?
So acknowledging the pandemic epically sucked for a lot of people. It actually worked out pretty well for us as musicians, because we're all like little studio gremlins that have our own like little home studio setups, and we all had jobs in Australia where they kind of just furloughed us.
Email jobs.
Put us at home. And so we had this great opportunity to just like have weekly check-ins, see how everyone was going, and write a whole bunch of music. So we actually found ourselves in this great situation when everything was beginning to roll out of that whole time, where we had this sort of huge war chest of songs that we pretty much liked, and we were able to set ourselves this target of like, let's really focus it down. Oh! A rogue backing track appears. Yeah, we're able to focus it down into this this kind of tight runtime for the newest record, and that was something we hadn't really had the opportunity to do with the 2 records before that. It was always just record everything you have. So it was nice to have the choice and the time.
A lot of the songs on the album were even demoed before the pandemic, and so we had a really nice long kind of gestation period to get them done, and I think all that time benefited them. The only weird thing was not being able to play them live, which was a little bit different for us, but we kind of figured it out in the room when it came to the studio, and then getting to play them live now, it's like rediscovering them in a new way, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that has to be awesome. I mean, and that's such a, as Alex was just saying, that's such a great problem to have this influx of so much music to think about for that period of time and really listen to, change up. I think that that's genius. Great way to put out a record. So this is the second time Sleep Makes Waves is here with us at Audiotree. The last time was 2016, I believe, so about 8 years ago. Which is a very long time. That's almost a decade, just 2 years shy, if anybody doesn't know, which you probably do know. But what would you guys say has changed the most within the band within that time frame of 8 years? Could be anything from within the band, your songwriting process.
I think as a whole, the machine of Sleep Makes Waves is less relentless and intense and all-consuming. Back then, we were regularly playing close to, I'd say, 70 to 100 shows a year, and really pushing that boulder up the hill. These days, having done that work, I think there's a sense of contentment with what we have achieved, but also a desire to continue enjoying the act of creativity with one another. And so I feel like the tempo has gone down, but at the same time, I think our artistic and creative quality and our ability to listen to new influences and draw those into our songwriting has only gotten better. So I feel like if it's like a river, it's not like rushing down the mountain anymore. It's kind of like opened up and it's just taking slow bends. And we're just kind of surfing that river.
I love that. I love that. So tell me then a little more, if you can elaborate on that. What are those influences that may have changed over that time when you're approaching creating music or maybe even coming up with a record like this here? You know, what kind of overarcs that you could say changed from the beginning of Sleep Makes Waves to where you guys are here?
I think we've mellowed out a bit, at least I have. Like back in the early days, it was all Isis and Deftones and Meshuggah and Cloud Kicker and really heavy shit. But these days, I'm like excited for the new Clairo record and listening to Chapel Roan. So I don't know where I'm at anymore, to be honest. I think for me personally, it's just about songs. I love great songwriting, and I've gotten more interested in that as a pursuit, the sort of meta-narrative around what makes a song good and trying to take diverse inspirations along those lines because it's so hard to pin down. But I love that about music, that great songs are great regardless of their genre, and you just know it.
Oh, yeah, immediately. You hear it, and you're sucked right into it. You know it's going to be a banger.
I think the sometimes contradictory expectations of like the industry and the public are like a fun challenge to try and take on, because we're like in post-rock, this like kind of niche genre that we all kind of like to some greater or lesser extent, but we all think is kind of ridiculous at the same time. Like, to be honest, sorry to the hardcores out there, but it is a sort of strange and weird genre of music.
You're going to get flamed on Reddit, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, it's like trying to stay true to that origin of the band in that genre, give the people who have stuck with us so beautifully all that time music that still represents that origin, but also keep ourselves interested, keep our changing tastes interested, and kind of fit that into that thing. And then also have the like, well, you're doing new stuff, but it's not too new that it's betraying what I liked about you in the past. So finding that sort of like nice point of change a bit, but not so much so you're really too different now. So that's like a cool challenge, I think. It's a lot of how we frame what we do.
Makes total sense, especially with the longevity this band has had already. And that's a great answer. So can you guys take it away, play a little more for me here?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go to Tuning Town, guys.
The bass tuning on this one is especially demented. I believe reading the spreadsheet earlier, it's C G C G. Is that correct, Alex? For those
My
playing at
tuning
home?
is even dumber. Yeah, it's G C G C G.
See, even I couldn't remember that. Yeah. Go.
C
We also
G
did blow a
C
tire out
G
this
C
morning,
G
which was
the.
the new
That's
thing we
how
did.
we play
Pretty
bass.
special.
Well, thank you for joining us today. I'd like to thank the amazing camera crew and the audio crew. And thank you to Sleep Makes Waves for the amazing performance today. And thank you to our viewers. If you haven't, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you feel so inclined, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about today's performance. Check out the session right now on every streaming service, including Spotify, Apple Music, and many more. My name is Jason. Thank you again for your time, and we'll see you very soon.
All right, so you guys want to do it for real now?